What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Top of the Key, the latest sports podcast out there. I'm your host, Sai Balabhaja Petruni, also known as the Beard 2.0. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you like this video, and leave some feedback in the comment section. I'm always looking for new ideas of things to talk about and new segments that we can do on the show. I'm just trying to have fun, guys. So I thought today we'd talk about the last couple episodes of the Jordan documentary that came out this past weekend, and then talk a little bit about the possible resumption of the NBA season, and let's just get wild. So the last couple episodes that came out of the Jordan documentary, pretty much not too much to unpack, but it kind of just showed the greatness of Michael Jordan in those last few playoff series, especially the last one in the 98 finals against the Utah Jazz, where he hit the game-winning shot in Game 6. It pretty much just showed why Jordan is likely going to go down in history as the GOAT. Most people think he's the GOAT. Some people are still on the LeBron train, but we'll get to that. Don't worry. But there were some things that came out after the documentary aired on Sunday night about the accuracy of everything that was being said in the documentary. So let's start off with the flu game, because that was one of the biggest parts of the episode. I believe it was episode 9. It was in the 97 finals, and Michael Jordan orders pizza late in the night. And according to him, about 5 guys come to deliver the pizza, which they thought was very weird. Michael Jordan's personal trainer himself says he had some very bad vibes about this. He didn't feel comfortable about this. Jordan ate the entire pizza and got sick. The delivery guy said afterwards that wasn't true. 5 people did not deliver the pizza, and many sources have said that the pizza wasn't there wasn't any problem with the pizza. They weren't trying to sabotage Jordan or anything. This was in Utah, by the way. They weren't trying to sabotage Jordan or anything like that. They weren't trying to pull any stunts. But it does bring up an interesting point. Like, Jordan's obviously controlling the narrative of this documentary. Whatever he says goes. But I've heard many different stories about the flu game and what actually happened. The delivery guy said it was him and the driver. It was like 2 people who delivered it, and the room was filled with cigar smoke. I also heard that Jordan spit on the entire pizza so that nobody else would eat it. That could create some problems too. I also heard that there was no pizza and he was just hungover. He didn't even have the flu, which honestly believable. I wouldn't put it past him to just do that before a finals game and then play lights out. But either way, pretty spectacular that he played that well, given the circumstances. But at the end of the day, this was not the only situation and only topic where people said that the accuracy of the documentary wasn't exactly great. Horace Grant came out and said that some of the stuff that Michael Jordan said about him in regards to the Jordan Rules book was false. That Horace Grant was the source. Michael Jordan called out Horace Grant for being the source that gave out all the information, but Horace Grant completely denied that. And to be honest, they did that with a lot of a lot of his teammates said the same thing, that a lot of the documentary was complete bullshit. There wasn't a whole lot of truth to the things that Jordan said were happening. People were portrayed badly. Scottie Pippen hasn't spoken in the media ever since this documentary came out. I don't think he's enjoyed what has come out particularly about him. He was portrayed really badly when it comes to the 1.8 seconds to the contract negotiations in the 98 season. Scottie Pippen was portrayed horribly in this, and it really begs to question how much of this documentary is true, and if so, does it matter? Because this is clearly just through the eyes of Michael Jordan. But if it's through the eyes of Michael Jordan, why do you need to show Scottie Pippen's 1.8 seconds debacle when Jordan wasn't even on the team? Jordan was playing baseball during this time, and they're showing Scottie Pippen during this 1.8 seconds disaster that happened. But Scottie Pippen was a valuable member of the team for in pretty much every other period of time. But they focused a lot on the migraine in Game 7, this 1.8 seconds, the contract negotiations where he's calling out Jerry Krause. I mean, come on. I'm Team Scottie here. I think he deserves better than that. If Scottie Pippen's not there, Jordan doesn't win 6 championships. That's a fact. I think that's completely guaranteed. I think he's still an NBA champion, but doesn't even come close to 6. Pippen's great. Scottie Pippen's unbelievable. I do think, nobody else would watch it if the documentary was just about the Bulls and not focused on Michael Jordan. This was a Michael Jordan documentary. And so Michael Jordan is only going to agree to a documentary being said about him if he has some level of creative control, if he can control the narrative a little bit. So this is pretty normal. This is kind of expected, honestly, that all of this is coming out of the accuracy and what has taken place. But those guys agreed to get interviewed, and at the end of the day, it's Michael Jordan's documentary. He gets to say what happens, and he has some sources to back him up. So the storytelling of the documentary was pretty had good flow and was clear. So it's really tough to say who's right. Personally, I tend to believe Jordan's teammates more because, Jordan was a tough guy. He did a lot of things that in the name of winning, maybe not the best things to do, rub a lot of people the wrong way, make you a lot of enemies. But at the end of the day, you're a winner. And that's what Jordan cared about. So, of course he controlled the narrative. And of course some of the things are going to be inaccurate in some ways. But he's going to do what he thinks is best, and he's going to do it in a way that glorifies himself. He's going to portray himself as this great player who had this unbelievable mentality that was only focused on winning. And you can't blame him for that. That's the GOAT mentality. Horace Grant also came out and kind of badmouthed Jordan in a lot of ways about how he treated his teammates and how, Jordan talked about how he wouldn't let guys eat after if they played a bad game, and Horace Grant always said that he could stand up to Jordan, but a lot of those younger guys couldn't. So it's always tough to see where things are accurate and where things aren't. There's always other perspectives. But we were watching this through the eyes of Michael Jordan, and that's okay because we got an inside look at that mentality that made him the greatest. Another big topic that was talked about a lot was after the documentary was completed was the Jordan versus LeBron GOAT conversation. This is one of the best times to be having that conversation, especially for most of the people that haven't seen Jordan play, like myself. A lot of people my age who've lived through the LeBron age, who weren't alive to see Michael Jordan play, and just have the stats and the information that people tell us. But in this documentary, we got an inside look, and just seeing everything that Jordan accomplished throughout the years, seeing everything, all the clutch shots, all the moments where he just came up big, the flu game, coming back from retirement and putting up a 55-point game like pretty soon after coming back. These are just things that are just unheard of. Two three-peats, never lost in the finals. I just, looking at LeBron and watching him throughout the years, I just don't see as many hallmark moments for him. He has some great moments, and he's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. But when you compare the two of them, I don't think it's even a debate anymore. I think Jordan is just the clear-cut GOAT. LeBron, great player, has had many great moments. 8 straight finals is no joke. That's an absurd stat. But Michael Jordan won 6 championships and never lost in the finals. Never was taken to a Game 7. He won 3 straight, left, and then came back and immediately won 3 straight. They could have won more too if they had kept it all together. They definitely could have won a couple more. Obviously, Jerry Krause, that whole situation was clearly messy with Scottie Pippen's contract. Phil Jackson didn't want Phil Jackson coaching anymore. Jerry Krause wanted a rebuild, even though they could have had a couple years. They could have had a couple more years. I think Krause just felt slighted in a way and didn't feel like he was being respected as possibly the greatest general manager that's ever been in the game. He didn't get that respect. Everyone was talking about the great coach that Phil Jackson was, the greatest of all time coach Phil Jackson was, GOAT Michael Jordan. Sorry. Scottie Pippen, the best number 2 of all time, Dennis Rodman, all these other guys, they're talking about them. And no one gives Jerry Krause the time of the day for building this team together and assembling this roster that won 6 championships. That's no joke. The general manager has a lot of responsibility, and putting together a team is no joke. Just ask LeBron. He's had to deal with the Cleveland front office, and that's no fun. So Jerry Krause obviously felt slighted. He wasn't getting the respect that he felt like he deserved. The players weren't respecting him either. So he made a decision that was probably a little personal, but at the end of the day, I think they could have won a couple more championships. But I think after watching this documentary, LeBron's career just doesn't match up to Jordan's. It just isn't there. I think he's top 2, top 3 player of all time, but Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. I wanted to go into this question though. What if LeBron had a competent front office? Because Michael Jordan, that Bulls team was a super team. That was an unbelievable team. You can't win 72 games just with the best player in the world. Even if you have the greatest player of all time, you can't just win 72 games unless you have help. The Rodmans, the Pippen, the Steve Kerr, the Ron Harper. That was a great team. Luke Longley. They were stacked. That team couldn't lose. But LeBron never really had great teammates for most of his career. The first 7 years in Cleveland, he had nobody. The front office was incompetent. They couldn't give him anything. They weren't helping him out at all. Sure, he went to the Heat. He won 2 championships there, rightfully so. I mean, he got help. They gave him Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. That's going to win you a championship. Then he comes back to Cleveland, has Kyrie, has to go up against Golden State. I'll give you that. He went up against one of the best teams of all time. And then went up against a Durant Warriors team, which is, if Durant didn't join the Warriors, I think LeBron could have won maybe even both of those finals. Definitely, I think he could have won one of those finals after that and would have 4 rings right now. Durant go to the Warriors is just absurd. Weak move. I'm not a Kevin Durant fan. I think it's a weak. I think he's unbelievably talented, obviously, but weak move. But yeah, I'll go to one thing. The Miami Heat. I think that was a super team. Also, I think that's a big knock on him that he wasn't able to win that finals against Dallas. He should have. They arguably could have won four rings there, 4 in a row. Definitely should have had a three-peat. The Miami Heat should have definitely had at least a three-peat. I think they weren't ready. LeBron wasn't ready to win. That's a big knock on him. Another thing I see is the fact that once LeBron left Cleveland was horrible. And then again, once he comes back to Cleveland, it becomes great. Then he leaves to go to the Lakers. Cleveland goes from the NBA Finals to the bottom of the East. That's the impact of LeBron James. It's absurd. It's a game changer. The guy's great. I definitely think Michael Jordan was helped out a lot in his career. It added to his greatness. What if LeBron had a competent GM, a competent front office, and teammates? We don't know what would happen. But at the end of the day, we're talking about clutch moments. At the end of the game, you put the ball in the hands of your best player, and you tell him to win the game. Jordan's just done it more consistently. And that's I think that's just the big difference there. I think if you take all of these other factors into consideration, you can make an argument like LeBron has struggled because of all these other external factors that Jordan wasn't as affected by. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, I want to put the ball in Michael Jordan's hands rather than LeBron. And that just speaks to the greatness of Jordan. I think just the best part of that documentary for me, for someone who didn't watch Michael Jordan play, was just seeing all of those moments and seeing other people talk about them and how they unfolded and everything that was going on while this was happening, and all the external drama that was taking place and the mentality that he had when anybody slighted him in any possible way, he was going to take it to him. You couldn't beat the guy. So, I mean, you might not like him. I'm certainly not the biggest fan of his character, but you certainly have to respect that he's the best to ever play, and I definitely think he is. So coming off of the Jordan documentary, now we really don't have any basketball or any sports to look forward to in the near future, sports content. But they have said in the news earlier that the NBA season resumption could take place in early to mid-July. There's going to be a decision by June 1st. Guidelines will be resumed. There's likely going to be 2 weeks of individual workouts and then 2 to 3 weeks of training camp and then getting into the games. But it's interesting to see what the rest of the season will look like. Obviously, they're going to have it in 1 or 2 bubble locations, maybe Orlando, Las Vegas. There won't be fans, obviously. But it'll be interesting to see because obviously the season's going to drag on into September, October, maybe even later than that. We don't know. We stopped in March, and the season usually ends in June, so that's about 3 months of basketball. So it could end in October, and then a new season could start in December, which is a very quick turnaround. So I'm very intrigued to see how they're going to restart the season game-wise, if they're going to just complete the regular season and then go into the playoffs normally, or if they're going to shorten something. There's been talk of a play-in tournament, which could be fun. The only issue I have with that is it's tough to say which teams would have to play in for a playoff spot and which teams would already be guaranteed a playoff spot. Like, it's tough to get those metrics because say you have a team like the Nets or like the Sixers, who are like a Sixers or Nets who were like a 5-6 seed in the East, and they're in a playoff tournament, play-in tournament, and they get beat by like the Magic or the Hawks off like a fluke, and then those teams find their way in the playoffs. So I do hope they really utilize the standings as they are now. I think it could be nice to finish the regular season or do a shortened version of the regular season where instead of 82 games, they just do 70 games and they just play until all teams have played 70 games so that it's all even, or 60 or whatever they want to do. I think it could be nice if they just shorten the regular season and then go into 7-game playoff series. I do agree with the Commissioner Adam Silver that we should continue with the 7-game playoff series. I think that's a big part of the NBA. I love those series, even like first round 7-game series where you get like a fun game 6 where it's like where you get like a Mavs Nuggets first round game 7. Like that, it would just be fun. It would just be fun to see. I just want basketball back, and I'm really looking forward to anything along those lines. I think all sports are going to be back eventually. Most cities are saying they'd be willing to open up the city for sports. Chris Cuomo or Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, or the mayor of New York City. I'm not completely sure which one's accurate. Cuomo came out and said that he'd be open to having sports back in New York. So it'd be definitely fun to see this happen. I think the NBA will resume in mid-July, and I'm really excited for it. I'm very much looking forward to this. We've been without sports for so long, and it's literally the number one thing I think about right now. It might be a little sad, but I can't stop thinking about when sports will come back. But I thought it would be fun to just talk about when the NBA season does resume, which players will be in the best shape and which players will be in the most out of shape. So most in shape guys who I think have still been grinding throughout this break of play. I think I put 3 guys into this category. I've got Russell Westbrook. The guy's a freight train. He's a workhorse. He's not going to stop working. I have LeBron James. If you're one of the best in the game, or if you think you are the best in the game, you're not going to stop working anytime. The Lakers are serious contenders. LeBron has said numerous times. It's like I hear him every week in the news saying he wants the NBA season to resume. Clearly, he thinks that he might not have a chance to win a championship after this year, so he's going all in on this, which probably anyone would do. I've got Giannis in this as well. The Bucks are the best team in the East, just like the Lakers are the best team in the West. Giannis clearly thinks that he's got a good shot of winning it all this year, so he's also in just peak physical form as well. Those 3 guys are maybe the most fit guys in the NBA, and they're not going to stop working right now. Most out of shape, number 1 guy I have on this is Nikola Jokic, just because he's already done this. He's already been out of shape coming into the season. He did this last year. But at the start of this season, I think he said he came in like 20 or 30 pounds overweight. He lost the weight. He definitely did, but it kind of shows in the way he played. He definitely had a slow start to the season. He didn't. In my opinion, Jokic was one of the guys I came into the season looking forward to watching because I knew this guy was going to come out and ball. He had a great season last year. I thought he would step up this year, and I thought he was going to be in that MVP conversation and average like 25 plus points and close to a triple-double. But we didn't see it at the start of the season. We've started to see him play a lot better and play into form later on. But I think a break in play definitely hurts a guy like Jokic, who already isn't the most athletic guy, but just has tremendous basketball IQ and can make all the right decisions. I've also got Zion in here. I mean, this guy just plays with reckless abandon, but he's like he's a little overweight. He's not. He's definitely not in the right shape to have the speed that he requires to really elevate his game. I think Zion is in that conversation as well, but we never know. But everyone was talking about how Zion was just a little chunky to when he came into the league. I think James Harden is also in that conversation. The dude's a little thick, if you ask me. He's a little chubby and thick. Beard might add to it. I mean, I'm chubby and thick. I'm not in peak athletic form either, but I think James Harden's in that category as well. I also threw in two others, Shaq and Charles Barkley. I think they will double in size, but it's important to note, while Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley double in size, Kenny the Jet Smith will shrink. He will get smaller. So that was our little fun in shape, out of shape game that I wanted to play this week. But now we get into the real fun part of the podcast. I will close it off here with the power rankings. So number 10, I've got the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are the definition of boring and bland. Nobody cares about them. The Pacers in the 90s had a shot with Reggie Miller. They were interesting. They were contenders. They were relevant in some way. Couldn't get it done. Nobody really cared. I mean, that's the definition of the Pacers. Like, what is a Pacer? Like, nobody even cares about. It's not even an interesting mascot. It's just like, even in Indiana, I went to school in Indiana, so and a lot of people in Indiana, for them it goes Indiana basketball, IU basketball, and the Colts are at the very top, and the Pacers, like nobody cares about the Pacers. I'm sorry, not even like people in Indiana don't really care about the Pacers all that much either. Number 9, one of my all-time favorites, Brian Scalabrine, the White Mamba and Celtics legend. He won a championship with us in 2008. I love this guy. He's a legend. You should go and watch his top 10 career plays. I just watched this before I did this podcast, and I was just amazed. It was an incredible sight to behold. I love Scalabrine. Mike Tyson is number 8 for me. Who else wants a comeback? This guy's been training. It looks like he's, for like however old he is, like 55, close to 60. He looks in good shape for his age. He watching his like workout videos, like he was throwing some pretty quick punches, and those packed a punch. Like if I was standing in his way, I would be knocked out dead. But it'd be cool. They've been talking about doing a charity match with Holyfield, which would be really fun. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's fun to speculate what could happen and see all the fun different scenarios. But Mike Tyson's not really gonna come back. Oh, but we can only hope. I would watch the shit out of that fight. Whatever fight Tyson comes back for, I would watch the absolute shit out of it. It would be so much fun. Number 7, I got Viktor Krum. The guy choked the 94 finals. The 94 Quidditch World Cup finals. He choked. He caught the snitch, but Bulgaria lost. Ireland won the 94 Quidditch World Cup. Viktor Krum choked. Couldn't catch the snitch in time. It took too long, and then it didn't matter. Then he went up and he choked the Triwizard Tournament. And it's just sad, man. The guy has so much potential, and he couldn't get it done in the 94 World Cup. So that's my one for all the Harry Potter fans out there. I'm so back in on Harry Potter. Number 6, Mononucleosis. The disease claimed a quarterback last year in the name of Sam Darnold. As a Jets fan, that really hurt. I thought we had some promise. I later realized that even with Sam Darnold, we were a bad team. But at the end of the day, a quarterback getting mono is absurd. It hasn't happened in years. It's been a very long time since that happened the last time. He had to miss like 3 games for it. It's the most Jets thing that could ever happen, which means I absolutely expected something like that to happen. I was just waiting for some piece of horrible news to befall us and ruin our entire season, and I will be looking for the same thing this year. But it's interesting to see. Who will mono claim this year? Will it be Baker Mayfield? Will it be Aaron Rodgers? Will it be Patrick Mahomes? I have a prediction that mono will hit Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is the clear candidate for someone who would get mono. Those two just fit perfectly together. Number 5, Jordan's pizza delivery guy. I'm standing with you, man. I'm on team pizza delivery guy. He said that Jordan's story was bullshit, and I believe you. Thank you for your service. Number 4, got to bring my man, Dr. Anthony Fauci, back in here. I don't need to say anything else. His name just speaks for himself. 2 months ago, I didn't know who this guy was, and now he shows up in my dreams. So thank you to Dr. Fauci. Number 3, Dennis Rodman. Come on, man. Like, how can you not like this guy? He's my hero and he's my role model. I model my game after him. I model my behavior after him. I literally strive to be him. This man, in the middle of the NBA Finals, just gets up and leaves. Nobody knows where he is. Phil Jackson has no idea where he is. He doesn't show up at practice because he went to the WWE. Literally the next time he's seen after, I think it was Game 2, he's seen hitting someone with a chair in the WWE. Hulk Hogan was even like, what the hell are you doing here? You are in the NBA Finals, and you are in the WWE right now. It's absolutely crazy. Crazy guy. I could literally just watch Dennis Rodman content all day. Number 2 is myself again. I'm still high. No one's been able to really knock me from that number 2 spot. I'm a rebounding champion. I'm a life guru. If you want any advice on anything, I'm the guy to ask. I always know what's right. I always have the best opinions. I'm the smartest guy in the room always. I'm the best rebounder. I'm one of the best rebounders the game has ever seen. The only reason I haven't been called up to the NBA yet is because I literally cannot do anything else. I can rebound very well, and occasionally I will give you 5 straight threes. But that's rare. But when it happens, it's like I'm unconscious shooting. Number 1, Kobe Bryant. We can't ever forget. This guy's a legend, a hero to so many. Had to give him some love in this podcast as well. We love you, Kobe. Thank you so much for everything you've done for the game. Now for a couple outside of our top 10 that didn't make the cut. Number 654, Vladimir Putin. One of the worst guys in the world. This guy's just a bad dude, man. Like, I don't care for this guy at all. When someone's talking about like Putin this, Putin that, I'm like, God, stop talking about this Putin guy. I'm not a fan. So just not a good dude. That's why he was way outside of my top 10. Like, he wasn't even close. Like, he couldn't have even made it if he tried. 655. Big drum roll for this one. It's J.R. Smith. You guessed correctly. J.R. Smith rounds us off at 655. I I just want to conclude by saying thank you again for tuning in to another edition of Top of the Key. It was really fun watching this Jordan documentary over the past 5 weeks. And now we can look forward to real sports, and they are coming fairly soon. Just like another month and a half, we'll have the NBA back. The MLB is supposed to start fairly soon, around in that ballpark as well. But once we get some real sports, the fun's just going to ramp up even more. And guess what? I get a front row seat. Let's do it. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I want to thank you again. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you liked what you saw. Give me some hate messages as well. I love that. Just tell me how much you hate every single freaking thing I'm doing up here. Yeah. Thank you. This was Top of the Key. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back next time.